Live at 5.
WTOC investigating a voter registration organization. That's what it calls itself in Thunderbolt. This is what it looked like when we went by over the weekend when a former employee raised some concerns about the sensitive information that they are collecting from people. Good afternoon. I'm Sonny Dixon.
And I'm Jody Chapin. And now, live at 5, it looks like this.
Indeed, it's over on Shell Road at Skidaway.
And the New Georgia Project has people going door to door. They're registering voters, but the former employee that we spoke to says something is just not right. So we did a little bit of digging, and our Elizabeth Rawlins is live at 5 from the organization's headquarters at Shell Road and Skidaway. So Elizabeth, you've been investigating this for a few days now.
That's right, Sonny. Jody, I was out here on Saturday when police came out here, and according to this police report, officials say they found no evidence that they had a business license at this location. We learned police even questioned them about being a nonprofit organization, but officials from the organization never provided them with any proof. Brad Jones says this is where he and a couple of students were recruited to work for about 3 days. They went door to door with voter registration forms, trying to get folks registered to vote. He says from the beginning he questioned the legitimacy of the organization. He says there were many red flags, including telling folks to vote at their polling station at Roosevelt School, but officials at the voter registration office tell me that place doesn't exist.
There are 89 polling places.
89. And there's not one Roosevelt School?
No, there's no Roosevelt High School in Chatham County.
Jones says he even questioned organization officials about what they are doing with all the voter information they are collecting.
And she couldn't really tell me anything. They really act like you're not supposed to talk to them about stuff like that. Everything is pretty much a secret.
New at 6, officials from the state are looking into this and will also have tips on how you can make sure all of your information is staying safe. We'll have all that all new at 6. For now, we're reporting live in Savannah, Elizabeth Rawlins, WTOC News.
New at 6, state election officials are investigating a group called the New Georgia Project in another Georgia county. The organization recently started going door to door here in Savannah, getting people registered to vote, but the Secretary of State's office says that they are not registered under any of the state's organizations. Our Elizabeth Rawlins is joining us now live from the New Georgia Project headquarters on Skidaway and Shell Road with more on this WTOC Investigate. So Elizabeth, what else have you learned about the group?
Well, Jody, investigators tell me that this organization is also being investigated in Butts County for similar issues, but officials here at this organization tell me they are in compliance with the Secretary of State's office, but they have yet to provide any documentation. But investigators tell me it's not illegal to go door to door getting folks registered to vote, but there are special rules that you have to follow with those forms.
You take possession of them again, that you really incur the liability and the responsibility for doing a lot of stuff with them.
Chris Harvey says one of the main rules about getting folks registered to vote is to make sure that folks have the option to mail it in themselves or let the organization handle it. But Brad Jones says he went door to door for 3 days and never gave that option.
And the voter registration form that we were taking to the doors didn't have a postage stamp on them, so there's no way that those could have been sent back in the mail.
He says the expectation was to collect 12 registration applications per shift. He says he collected about 20 registration forms that he had to turn into the organization. Those applications are then supposed to be turned into the Secretary of State's office. Officials say if your application is handled correctly, you should receive a notification in the mail. The Secretary of State's office says if you're going to give out that kind of information, be smart about it.
Hopefully, you would be convinced that it's a legitimate group, and you may make some notes about who you gave it to and what organization it was that was doing it.
Right. Now, the New Georgia Project considers themselves to be a nonprofit organization, but when I asked them how they were able to raise money, they were not able to answer my question. Of course, we'll stay on top of this and let you know what happens. Reporting live in Savannah, Elizabeth Rawlins, WTOC News.
We are learning more about a voter registration organization under scrutiny. The IRS says the New Georgia Project is not registered as a nonprofit organization. The New Georgia Project claims that they help citizens to register to vote. Former employees have come forward saying that they believe the organization could possibly be collecting people's information for the wrong reasons.
The fact that when I Googled it, nothing came up,
And when I asked them about, who was funding this and who was behind all this, they kind of were beating around the bush around the answers.
Well, this group is also being investigated in Butts County for various issues regarding voter registration. Our Elizabeth Rawlins met with the president of the Georgia NAACP, who says they're trying to set the record straight about how any organizations really should get out and get people registered to vote.
Most folks who are registering people to vote are a part of good, accountable groups who hold information in strict compliance with the law.
Francis Johnson says part of the NAACP mission is to get people registered to vote, but he says they don't recruit folks and send them out in the field blind. They are trained to go door to door.
And any information that is collected in the voter registration process is not retained by our organization. Individuals can seal up their voter registration information right there. They can mail it in themselves. We always provide that option.
But folks who used to work for the New Georgia Project say they never received any type of training and says they were not told to conceal the registration forms. Former employees of the New Georgia Project say this is just one of many neighborhoods. They went door to door asking folks to register to vote. One neighbor here tells me he was a little suspicious when they came to his door.
It was a little weird, but I really didn't pay it that much of attention.
Williams says he went ahead and filled out the form without giving his social security number because he says he had never heard of the group before.
They should be more legit about it, have some kind of supervisor with them to let them know that this is legit what they're doing.
But the NAACP says questioning one organization should not deter folks from getting registered.
Voter registration is safe in Georgia. It's done every day by organizations who know how to do it and do it well.
This is a live look at the Solution Center of our website. That again, Elizabeth Rawlins reporting on that story. On the website, you can find a link not only to the story you just saw, but to the Secretary of State's website where people can safely register to vote. There's also information on a number of physical locations all around not only Savannah, but other communities in our area where you can go and register to vote.
We've been asking questions all week, talking to the attorneys and PR officials of this organization, which recruited local college students to go door to door collecting voter registration forms. What they did with that sensitive information is what had us concerned. We wanted answers about the legitimacy of the group, especially when we learned the Secretary of State's office does not recognize the New Georgia Project as a nonprofit organization. Officials with the New Georgia Project were never able to answer our questions until today. They revealed it is part of the Third Sector Development, a nonprofit organization that supports disadvantaged communities. I was able to confirm that group is registered as a nonprofit in Georgia. Third Sector Development was started by Georgia State Representative Stacey Abrams. She told me in a phone interview tonight that the New Georgia Project was her idea. It was started this year to get more folks registered to vote in underrepresented communities. So I asked Abrams, why wait so long to reveal this? My concern is why we were never given those answers sooner when we were asking.
Well, again, the structure of the program, my primary role right now with regards to the New Georgia Project is fundraising, and I'm incredibly busy doing that work, but we have put in place a structure to respond to questions.
But, do you think this gives voter registration a bad name when there's some issues that are coming up?
I think that as every organization that hires people and wants to do the best work, there are always quality control issues, and you always want to be as responsive as possible.
She went on to say they keep everyone's information private and they are in compliance with Georgia registration laws. We also spoke to State Representative Al Williams of Midway, who supports the New Georgia Project but admits it's gotten off to a rough start.
This organization takes full responsibility for how it was introduced to this area. It was all wrong, but there's nothing wrong here, no sinister motive, just trying to get people registered to vote.
Now we're going to stay on top of this. Clearly, the supporters of this group acknowledged there were problems. So was that sensitive information they collected really safe? Who's running the operations here in Savannah? We hope to get those answers soon. In the meantime, we do have a link on our website where you can safely register to vote on our Solution Center at WTOC.com. Ben?